people are going to migrate to Solana. We're already starting to see that with stablecoin flows. If they're going to be buying Solana and they own Solana and the value of Solana goes up, well, they're going to want to lever against that. What are they going to buy? A dog coin. What's the dog coin on Solana? Bonk. Bonk also has an incredible Netflix quality story behind it. That's very easy for people to kind of get behind. $28 million market cap that went to $2 billion. Did we get lucky? Sure. Was it an informed probability? Yes. That is one of the reasons why when we talk about the comfort in owning meme coins, celeb coins, shit coins, you name it, because our LPs don't care as long as we're doing it in a risk managed way. And the last thing I'll mention about this is that we do manage the risk of these types of assets in a very strict way. So we have what's called a concentration risk policy, where any asset that is in the top 20 by market cap, at most, we can spend 2% of the fund's AUM on it. Let's say you have $100 million and you spend $50 million on Bonk, and you're wrong. You're fucked. If you spend $2 million and it drops 50%, it's not the end of the world. If it goes up 100x, you just crushed it.
You're talking about the little guy who would throw $500 into a meme coin, right? But you invest for the big boys and you throw money into the dog coins.
That's right.
Why?
Really simple. My job as a hedge fund manager is to generate returns for my LPs. Let me be super clear about this. Like, no one starts a hedge fund to change the world. Like, a hedge fund is to generate money. Venture capital fund, yeah, okay. You'll see VCs say to you things like, we back the founders that are here to change the world. No, you're not. That's actually not true. I'm sorry, guys. That is nonsense. The reality is, like, VCs won't say what I'm saying because they know it's true. VCs raise money from limited partners. Limited partners put money into their fund. Absolutely. And they say, I want a return on this. And so when a VC tends to invest in a business, your business model becomes their business model, and their business model is generating returns. And if you don't meet their business model, guess what? They will find ways to make sure that you're not in business anymore, or you have to get really, really lucky, right? And so with what I'm doing at the hedge fund side, we're here to generate returns for our LPs. There is no way to like sugarcoat that. That is literally the job. And so what I look for is not the investments that are going to make me look good on a panel at a conference. I look for investments that are going to generate returns. And I think at Asymmetric, we're kind of at the intersection of technology, culture, and capital. That is a very rare combination. And it's obviously very self-serving for me to say that. But that is what has enabled us to have those types of returns that we had in 2023, because a lot of the performance drivers were macro driven, expressed through crypto, but also understanding culture and that being expressed through crypto. So as an example, we were very early to Bonk and still are huge supporters and holders of Bonk. I had identified in October major capitulation event on Bonk. It looked like someone had just finally said, I can't take it anymore, and just dumped as much as they possibly could. When you see that, it's a form of capitulation. That's a pattern that exists in trading and investing, et cetera. Typically, when you see that level of capitulation, the price goes up. The last seller has sold. That's when bottoms actually form. And so that was number one. Number two was we were actually approaching Q4, which is historically a great quarter for crypto in general. Number three, we had the Solana Breakpoint conference coming up. Number four, I built some proprietary software in-house at Asymmetric that allowed me to see kind of block order flows across the spot exchanges and started to see these kind of huge prints hitting the tape. And number five, we did on-chain forensic analysis of stablecoin flows into Solana. My view was, if Solana is going to go break through the kind of FTX implosion level and start ripping, people are going to migrate to Solana. We're already starting to see that with stablecoin flows. Well, if they're going to be buying Solana and they own Solana and the value of Solana goes up, well, they're going to want to lever against that. What are they going to buy? A dog coin. What's the dog coin on Solana? Bonk. Bonk also has an incredible story behind it. Like, it's like Netflix quality story behind it. That's very easy for people to kind of get behind. Lo and behold, it was a $28 million market cap that went to $2 billion, right? Did we get lucky? Sure. Was it an informed probability? Yes. And I think that is one of the reasons why when we talk about the comfort in owning meme coins, celeb coins, shit coins, you name it, because our LPs don't care as long as we're doing it in a risk managed way. And the last thing I'll mention about this is that we do manage the risk of these types of assets in a very strict way. So we have what's called a concentration risk policy, where any asset that is in the top 20 by market cap, at most, we can spend 2% of the fund's AUM on it. Why? Let's say you have $100 million and you spend $50 million on Bonk, and you're wrong. You're fucked. If you spend $2 million and it drops 50%, it's not the end of the world. If it goes up 100x, you just crushed it.
ask Xiao Wang, he was early in WIF, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask him, do you still hold WIF? He says no. Why? He says, I'm not sure it outperforms Solana in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to put that in, I want to ask you the same question, right? Because you say I own Bonk. And I want to put that into the framework of the question would be depression or dog coins for $1 trillion. So I'm basically asking you, depression or dog coins for $1 trillion?
Dog coins to $1 trillion, for sure. No doubt about it.
For sure.
Yeah, of course. I mean, let's like unpack that a little bit more, right? So, in the United States, the federal government is a business, and the way that they generate income, there's like a handful of ways. There's tariffs, which are small, which could change under Trump administration. There's tariffs, but then there's taxes, and taxes is the majority of the income for the most part for the U.S. government. Well, if you look into the types of taxes that they receive, the largest amount of income that they receive is from capital gains. What are capital gains? That's when you buy an investment, it goes up in value, and you have to pay either short-term or long-term capital gains. I'm not a tax professional, but this is like loosely the understanding of how this works, okay? How does the government ensure that they keep having revenue from capital gains? They have to inflate the value of assets. So like, let that wash over you. The U.S. government has to inflate the value of assets to get capital gains tax revenue. Why is nobody saying this?
What percentage of the revenue for the government is the capital gains versus the other? Is it a huge chunk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This could again change with, say, Trump has, I think if he becomes president again, and he follows through on his tariff plan, like that could fundamentally change. But yeah, the majority of the tax revenue the majority of the revenue for the federal government comes from taxes, period. And I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I'm sure somebody will gladly fact check me in the comments, but ultimately that is their business model. And so once you kind of understand the plumbing of this system, you can look at it and go, the value of homes. What is the value of all the U.S. homes in the United States? It's some trillions of dollars. Okay. What if that drops 10% in value? What happens to the capital gains tax? Zero or very small, right? They can't have that. The business model is not set up to have assets go down in value. So therefore, depression or dog coins to $1 trillion, there's actually only one choice. They have to inflate assets. And because Zoomers, a lot of millennials cannot afford to buy a home, guess where they put their money? In things that may enable them to buy a home.
Dog coins.
Dog coins. Now, I will say that, the guy who said, I don't hold any WIF anymore, like there is, we haven't even really seen retail come back thus far in this cycle. We've seen like little spurts of it. Meme coins are like you can press a button and create one. Like it's trivial to create a meme coin at this point, right? The difference is, do you actually have some level of utility, which I know people hate to associate with meme coins, but like, sorry, Bonk is really good at this. Iggy Azalea's mother is really good at this. Like there are examples of this out there, or you have absolutely captured attention and maintained it. Now, there is a self-fulfilling prophecy, like WIF was crazy. It captured everybody's attention, but then all the exchange listed it. All the market makers wanted to trade it. There's all this behind the scenes kind of infrastructure that mechanistically rolls out for what becomes a blue chip meme coin. Well, now all these market makers like have inventory, and there's a bunch of holders of these various meme coins that are blue chips like WIF. They're not going to let this thing go to zero because they make money on the markets and the exchanges make money on it being traded. And then they offer new products because that's their business model. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy mostly when a token ends up like as a blue chip. What I see is like $1 billion plus market cap because you've got all the infrastructure in place to ultimately support it. Does that mean that it won't go to zero? No. It just means that the probability is less that it goes to zero.
So kind of framework that you're using, from what I understand, for kind of different things in the world to assign probabilities on where things are going is understand the business model of every actor that is involved and what's their basically incentives. That's it.
Really simple. Yep. If you can understand the incentives of the other side, it makes the picture becomes way less cloudy. And that whether it's understanding like the US government's business model or it's understanding what makes a blue chip meme coin, it's the same thing. And if you understand those incentives, it's a very powerful position to be in.
So you bet big on Solana and bet big on meme coins. What was asymmetric fund performance in 2023 to earn you the best performing fund in the world award?
We were up 193%. And that's, again, with our risk management framework in place. And that's, 9 figures of AUM. There are some funds that have reached out and be like, oh, well, we were up 250%. I was like, how much did you have under management? They were like $2 million. I'm like, well, yeah, like kudos, but add like 2 zeros to that and see if you can generate that same type of return. It's very difficult.